What's up, y'all? Logan here. As an avid collector and strategic investor myself, I am so stoked to announce the launch of Liquid Marketplace, a platform where collectors can buy and sell fractions of rare collectibles via tokens on the blockchain.
If you thought Logan Paul's crypto zoo drama was messy, wait till you hear about this one, because things just hit a whole new level. Just when everyone thought the chaos was finally behind him, another massive project dropped, and somehow it went even worse. Fans watched their money disappear again, while Logan acted like he was just another bystander, totally detached from the fallout. What's wild is that years ago, he wasn't hiding from this at all. He was out there smiling on camera, proudly saying this was his company, his next big move. That same confidence is now coming back around, and not in a good way. Fast forward to today, and federal regulators are officially taking a closer look. That right there tells you this isn't just internet gossip or fan outrage anymore. Things are getting serious behind the scenes, and no one knows yet if it'll end with fines, settlements, or something even bigger. What's clear is that Logan Paul isn't just trending for clout anymore. He's in real deep water. So let's unpack this whole Liquid Marketplace situation and how it went from hyped innovation to full-on disaster. On paper, it sounded like a genius idea, a futuristic way to invest in rare collectibles like art, trading cards, and high-end memorabilia without needing millionaire money.
What do you tell that group of young investors out there?
I think if you have the money, don't be afraid to take a risk, especially if you're young. Young people have a ton of energy. I had a lot of energy when I was younger. I'm 30 now and I'm Unc and I have a daughter, I'm a dad, and so I have way less energy. But if you're young, there are ways to spend and invest your money in ways that might mean more to you.
Instead of one rich collector dropping millions, fans could buy small slices of ownership through tokens. Everyone could supposedly win together. You'd grab a few tokens representing fractional ownership and, in theory, trade those shares anytime on the platform. Logan sold it as a slick, modern way to flip collectibles, almost like a stock market for rare items. For many fans, it felt like a golden ticket into a world that usually locks out regular people. And Logan? He wasn't some silent investor in the background. He was front and center, proudly calling himself a co-founder. He pushed it hard, selling it like some groundbreaking revolution that would finally let everyday people sit at the same table as the elite. No more watching billionaires hoard all the good stuff. This was supposed to be the equalizer. And at the center of it all, his ultimate flex, that legendary Pikachu Illustrator card, known as the rarest and most expensive Pokémon card on Earth. This wasn't some card you keep in a binder, no way. This was museum-grade, high-security, glass case kind of treasure. The type of item that screams status, wealth, and exclusivity. And somehow, Logan's wild story about a security guard named Vlad, supposedly the guy who fought 7 bears and ended up with the Pikachu card, became part of his brand myth. That whole legend followed him everywhere. Logan wore the card around his neck, showed it off at events, flashed it in interviews, and used it like a badge of honor.
Than a traditional conservative investment like the stock market. Whether it's a trading card, a piece of art, a piece of a dinosaur, like a sports memorabilia, game worn, anything.
Birkin bags. They're beating the stock market. Their appreciation.
And you're absolutely right.
Beanie Babies. Some of this stuff could be faddish. It's not. There's no inherent value to it. Like a Beanie Baby,
Sure.
It'll crash.
Sure. It's entirely possible. You gotta be careful with what you're investing in.
Or trade out of it quick.
Or trade out of it.
Proof that he wasn't just another flashy YouTuber collecting for clout. In his mind, this card made him legit. A serious investor who knew the collectible game and wasn't just playing pretend with pricey toys. But soon, the noise started to grow louder. Logan began showing up on major business networks, speaking like a finance pro, breaking down alternative investing, as if he'd mastered the market. Major outlets picked up his story, reporting that he planned to auction that iconic Pikachu card in early 2026. And that alone had people raising their eyebrows. But what really stirred unease was the kind of advice he was giving while on that media run, and the confidence with which he said it. He started brushing off the usual talk about stocks or long-term investing like it was old news, pushing hard for collectibles instead. His message was basically, forget playing it safe, don't wait, just buy Pokémon cards. Or better yet, buy fractions of them through his platform. When asked what advice he'd give young investors, his answer stunned people. And not in a good way. It came off as risky, all hype and no responsibility, and fans definitely noticed. Then came the moment that changed everything. Liquid Marketplace crawled right back into the picture, and at the worst possible time for Logan. Out of nowhere on Christmas Eve, he reappeared with an explanation that immediately set off alarms. He revealed that the Pikachu Illustrator card had already been listed on Liquid Marketplace before, meaning users were actually able to buy fractional shares of it. Real people had spent real money on tokens directly tied to that card, way back in May 2024. And this wasn't just internet rumor, it was confirmed. But here's where the story takes a twist. Logan admitted that after the card had been listed and broken into shares, he later repurchased it himself, and that tiny detail flipped everything upside down. Because once you sell fractional ownership, you're no longer the only owner. Everyone who held tokens connected to that card was supposed to be paid out based on their share percentage.
A very hard decision to make, but yes, I will be listing this card on a platform that I co-founded called Liquid Marketplace. It allows co-ownership of top-tier assets. So instead of one person, me owning this card, we as a collective can co-own it together. I'll also be listing it for $5 million instead of the $5.3 million I bought it for. So basically, I'll be giving you guys $300,000 discounts because everyone likes discounts. And I should say this, I'll be retaining 49% ownership of the card. So I won't actually have access to it. It'll be in our vault. But if I want to wear it out to fights or a Pokemon box break, or maybe even put it in a museum one day, the community can decide if we want to do.
That's literally how the platform was meant to function. You buy shares, the asset gets bought back, and investors get their fair cut, clean and simple. Logan claimed he was told all the payouts had been handled properly behind the scenes. But then, he added one more thing that sent this story spinning in a whole new direction. He stated that the company and some of its principals were now facing regulatory scrutiny. That single line shifted this from messy business drama into something far more serious, and it made people start asking questions that weren't going away. Adding a process in which I had no involvement in or insight as it does not relate to me, that single line instantly set people off because when you strip it down to the basics, the situation looks real ugly. People were supposed to get paid, but they didn't. Money went missing. Users were locked out and couldn't withdraw anything. And instead of clear answers, Logan wrapped everything in a soft, polished message that sounded calm on the surface. He said, "For those affected and unable to withdraw your funds, please know that I'm actively working with Liquid Marketplace to help ensure these funds can be released in the near future. Just as intended when I repurchased the Illustrator in May 2024. Stay tuned for updates on paper. It reads caring and responsible. But the internet wasn't buying it. People caught the problem immediately. Community notes popped up reminding everyone that Logan Paul isn't some random third party stepping in to help. He's a co-founder of Liquid Marketplace. He once called it my next company and pushed fractional ownership hard back in 2022. That context flips the whole statement upside down. His message sounds like he's an outsider lending a hand, when in reality this was his platform, his vision, and something he was deeply tied to. From day one, that detail changed the entire conversation and people noticed fast. Here's where things get tricky, because the business model itself is confusing on purpose. Picture this. You own a vintage Rolex, a signed Kobe Bryant card, or a one-of-a-kind Pokémon collectible. Instead of selling it the normal way, you lock it in a vault and sell digital fractions of it online to hundreds or even thousands of buyers. Everyone puts money in, but no one ever gets the actual item. You can't touch it, can't control it, can't decide what happens to it. What you're really buying is the idea of ownership, not the thing itself. It's like paying for a slice of a Lamborghini you'll never drive, never see, never even hear. All you truly own is a digital promise. A piece of code saying you have a fraction of something locked away. And according to reports and statements from regulators, this is exactly where things started to go sideways. Because once real money is tied to digital fractions, the big question gets both simple and scary. Who actually controls the asset? And what happens to the money when things don't go the way investors were told they would? That's when people started asking the uncomfortable question. What did anyone actually own here? They spent real cash, sometimes huge amounts, yet there was nothing tangible to claim. No physical item, no control, no official paperwork, just digital fractions floating in a system most people couldn't even access. At that point, this stopped looking like a messy business hiccup and started looking risky. Then things escalated fast. By June 2024, the Ontario Securities Commission had launched an enforcement proceeding, alleging that liquid marketplace executives diverted millions in investor funds for personal gain and misled investigators. That's not a small accounting mistake. That's a full-blown crisis. That's the kind of heavyweight accusation regulators don't toss around lightly. According to BetaKit reports, roughly $3 million out of more than $10 million raised was allegedly redirected through hidden payments and supposed personal loans that were never paid back. Allegations like that send alarm bells ringing instantly. Now here's the detail defenders love to highlight. Logan Paul was not directly named in the OSC enforcement application. Other company owners were. And that's the point where some fans jump in saying, see, not him, he's in the clear. But that defense starts to crumble when you zoom out, because if Logan had no involvement, why was he the public face of the entire platform? Why was he introduced everywhere as a co-founder? Why was his reputation used to build trust, only for the same platform to land under investigation later? That contradiction is too big to ignore. And somehow, it gets even murkier. The OSC allegations also stated that investors poured in millions believing they were buying legitimate fractional ownership of collectibles. But only a small number of those assets allegedly had real, legally binding agreements behind them. That's not some minor technical oversight. That's the foundation of the entire business. Because if there's no legal agreement tied to your so-called fraction, what do you truly own? A screenshot? A number on a dashboard? A digital promise based on trust alone? At that stage, the whole operation starts looking fragile, less like actual ownership and more like a high-tech illusion. It brought back strong flashbacks of the NFT craze, where hype often outweighed real value. Fast forward to today. Logan's post claims a buyout happened in May 2024, with money supposedly meant to go to fractional owners. Yet investors are still locked out, unable to withdraw, and left completely in the dark. Scroll through social media and it's the same story over and over. No access, no answers, just silence. And that silence? It's deafening. That's the absolute nightmare scenario for any platform holding people's money. When your entire business model is supposed to help users trade ownership, but they can't even access their balances or pull their cash out, you're already deep in the danger zone. Once trust collapses, patience disappears fast, and the whole thing starts crumbling from the inside out. This isn't just a glitch, this is a crisis. And it's way past being internet noise or angry Reddit threads. The Ontario Capital Markets Tribunal has officially listed the liquid marketplace case, with more hearing dates already confirmed for June 18th and 19th, 2026. This isn't speculation. It's active, ongoing, and extremely real. That's why Logan's Christmas Eve post didn't land the way he probably hoped. Instead of coming off as calm or caring, it felt like damage control. Like he realized, this is getting serious, and I need to get in front of it fast. Even the timing raised eyebrows. Why talk about people's missing funds over a year later, and only when hearings were already on the books? Even if Logan wasn't directly named in the official filings, the platform itself was built and promoted with him as the face from day one. Press releases, interviews, even major business coverage called him a co-founder. And now that things have gone sideways, the connection can't just disappear. You can't be front and center when things shine, then quietly step back when the fire starts. That's why this situation cuts deeper than just another Logan Paul controversy. The real issue is the pattern. Time after time, he jumps into flashy, high-risk ventures aimed at his own fans. And again, they end in confusion, backlash, or official investigations. At some point, it stops looking like bad luck and starts looking careless, or at the very least, reckless on a huge scale. So what happens now? As of today, Logan says he's helping users recover their funds, but the OSC case against liquid marketplace executives is still moving forward, with more hearings to come in 2026. The unanswered questions hang heavy. Will users ever see their money again? Will the platform finally come clean about what really went down behind closed doors? And will Logan ever take full responsibility for promoting financial products that left his followers hanging? Right now, it's all still up in the air. Logan wants to be seen as a serious businessman, but every time he dives into investments, the story ends the same. Controversy, investigations, and cleanup mode. Maybe it's time he sticks to boxing, WWE, or YouTube. Things that don't involve people's savings and trust. If you made it this far, drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if this breakdown gave you clarity, subscribe for more deep dives like this, share it to keep others in the loop. I is here alfast and subscribe here, and I'll see you on the next one.